Idea was that Bill Steiner and Barlow wanted a social club that was more concentrated on having fun and parties, and Los Ancianos is the ancient ones in the Spanish.
I do remember one of the first rules of the club. They decided they would have two rules. One, you had to be 30 to be a member, and the second one was that there would be no more rules. And that was kind of the way it was.
I was at the first meeting of the Ancianos. As I remember, the meeting didn't last that long.
And Bill was just the president. He just was for a long, long time. He was one of the funniest guys I ever met. Without even trying to be funny, he was.
One of my big memories of Nora, too, is her with her poker visor.
Oh, you bet.
And her cigar, and being right there at the table with the guys.
The pokers.
And beating them half the time.
She beat them most of the time.
The early meetings were up in a second-story apartment in San Diego, a little tiny place, as I remember. Nora Steiner was the treasurer and secretary both. Very nice lady. And she was a definite power behind the club right from the beginning. I bought my wife Mary a little Suzuki 80 trail road bike, and kind of eased her into that, and that of course continued my ability to ride, and so that worked out well. And she was a great, a lot of help in the club, did a lot of work and organization and secretarial work and all that sort of thing, photography.
Shirts or anything we had to have a yellow stripe down the back. So my wife went ahead and designed and made this vest with the yellow stripe down the back.
Early events that in the San Diego area, were pretty much focused on the desert. However, we had races where Santee is right now out at Cochran's Ranch. At that time, we had races up in Encinitas, quite a few desert races. I did a lot of work on the desert races, particularly doing layout and marking and so forth. And one of the big differences was back in those days we marked with lime bags, not arrows. And so we were all carrying 50 to 60 pounds of lime when we'd go out on the bike. So it's a lot of work, but we had a lot of fun doing it.
Thanksgiving weekend they had what they called a turkey run. It was just an in-club turkey run, and it was a poker run type thing. They had it set up for cars and bikes because there were a lot of cars involved in those days. And they had a thing where if you were a club member and you were the first club member within the to come into the finish line, the start-finish line, you were given a live turkey. And so I was riding with oh man, senior moment. Dick Hansen, and he was just hauling butt, and I thought, man, no, Dick's really riding good here, and all of a sudden he just pulls up and stops. I thought, well, heck, we're out in the lead here, I'm going to keep going, not realizing that if you were first club member to come in, you'd win a turkey. But I wasn't a club member at that time, so it didn't really matter to me, but those were good, they were fun events. They were just, they had a good turnout.
Bill Silverthorne told me that he won a turkey once down there. And Bill says, the trouble is, he says, taking it home. He says, everybody kept looking at me, going down the road. But he says, when I got it home, we turned it loose in the backyard. It ended up being a family pet, and we never did kill it.
That's right, they never did kill it.
Okay, so yeah, I remember the first Baja race. My dad was going to race in it, and I think Dick Hansen and Don Barnes almost won it. But the weekend before the race, or that Thursday before the race, gas leaked out of my dad's buggy or out somewhere ignited and burned our garage down and both buggies in it. So
Particularly on a club event, we had come back from LA Bay and May trip, and we had run into the Eakins brothers and Robertson, who were then attempting a solo record run. I'd actually clipped, I think it was Robertson, sort of head on, and found out what they were doing when we were picking ourselves up. And John and I talked it over, and we talked to some members in the club. We thought, well, you guys could go for the record too, to attempt to get the land record from Tijuana to La Paz. So John and I organized ourselves to do that, had volunteers from the club that would take some of the different checkpoints and, or at least provide, not checkpoints, but provide pits for us. So as we were getting ready to do that, then the NORA race came along, National Off-Road Racing Association, and it sort of became a moot point as to whether or not we would do a record run or participate in that race, because we felt the record would fall. So John and I then, with the assistance of a number of people in the club.
And then we flipped coins to see whether we'd use Dick's bike or mine, and Dick lost, so we used his. And the rest of it is, it's a good story. We finished, which was pretty cool.
What kind of bike did you ride?
Was a TR6 Triumph 650. They actually came from the factory ready to race, sort of. I mean, there was a list of stuff to do, but they were a pretty good bike for the time.
And I was riding a 500 Catalina Gold Star, and with a cheater sprocket on it, and most of the guys had the same kind of rig set up, and 55 miles an hour, boy, and there were embers coming out of the exhaust pipes. You're just peeking it out at 55, I guess. And except for Barlow, Bruce Barlow had what you call a clubman, and it had a stretched out fourth gear, and he could cruise on the highway at high speeds, and then he had a lower speed for the dirt, lower gears.
My first motorcycle when I joined the club was a Bultaco Sherpa N, which was basically a two-stroke road bike that they tried to make into a dirt bike. It wasn't very successful.
1960 Jawa 250, which was they were the hot desert trick at the time. They had probably 4 inches of radical suspension, probably 4 inches of travel front and back, which was big at the time.
Once the races started in Baja, we were there probably almost every weekend for several months of the year. And we had a lot of fun when the guys were out during the day, and then we would all be together in the evenings.
And for a while there, we gals didn't get to go, like when they were laying out the races, because the guys didn't have buggies. But after a while, it seemed like everybody at least had transportation that they could drive. And so we did get to go.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And we worked. We helped.
I rode pilot for the Enduro for several years. I think the last year we used those clocks that he was talking about. I had a little pocket on the front of my bike. Put the clock in there. I was riding pilot and got to the finish line, took it out, and it was just like a pile of gears. That was the last year we got those clocks.
When I became president in 1996, with Ed Trudersheim as the vice president, who helped me just a ton. He was so much help, it's ridiculous. We had the last Enduro was in '97, and we're hoping to have another one this year.
And so we were quite involved in doing the hare scrambles, and we had laid out some pretty tough courses. And we had some very notable riders, like Scott Harden and Ty Davis and Kurt Caselli, and many riders who have gone on to become quite notable. One of the things in researching this that came to my attention from a enduro race report in Dirt Rider magazine was Dick Burleson, who was King Richard, had won more AMA National Enduro Championships than anybody else, was quoted in Dirt Rider magazine as saying that the Los Ancianos Motorcycle Club throws the best and toughest enduro in North America. And I says, I'm really proud to be associated with a club like that.
Yeah. Our son Eric began going down to the ranch with us when he was 3 or 4 years old, and continued for a long time. Today he works for Kawasaki Motors and is still involved with motorcycles and loves them.
Sure.
The area now that's kind of marshy was dry, and we had buggy races down through there, and kind of along the lines of some of the Western horse type games. It was a lot for the kids, and it was a lot of fun. We always invited some of the people from Tecate, and
Always, and for a time, presented a check to the mayor's wife for a charity. And I don't remember which charity it may have been, but I have a picture, I'm sure.
it was for the children of Tecate.
Okay.
That's who the mayor's
Like
wife
the orphans, or the
deals with.
We have this 18-foot long concaved memorial wall, 8 foot tall, and there are probably a dozen plaques on it by now of brothers that have left us, and some of Pete's personal friends are on it, and it was a great project to a good reason for going down there and building that thing.
We just have to work to keep our name off it.
What was amazing was that this diverse group of men who all have individual thoughts and are very much individuals work together, and they put up beautiful restrooms with showers and everything.
The club should be singled out as the first two-wheeled vehicles to make it into the meadows, you know, where Sky Ranch was. So a lot of the guys in the club knew trails, showed us trails, showed John and I trails, and acquainted us with riding in Baja.
My most memorable times were on the trail, out and away, either exploring, and we would tend to make a lot of our fun rides actually part of our enduro explorations. And so we'd go out, oh, let's go look over in this area, let's do this kind of thing. Wonder if we could get through here.
I have high hopes for us continuing on and turning out a good race product and keeping the morale up and the general thinking about our club as still being something viable. I'm hoping for that.
I think these new members are going to have to adapt to a changing environment. It's a different relationship with Baja. It's a different relationship in the use of the trails and so forth down there, but I'd like particularly see them continue to respect the property ownership issues that we worked really so hard to establish over the years, and to move towards trying to attract riders that are willing to make a commitment and not consider this just to be a fun thing to do, to carry a legacy on.